When you're feeling burnt out or you feel like you're just wasting your life in a job that you don't really like, or you're just really tired and exhausted, these thoughts can be consuming and it can feel like all you want to do. And that's probably because you do need some me time. You need to take some time out. And that's not a bad thing. In fact, that's probably the exact thing that you need to do right now is to take some me time and to do something for yourself and try and fit it in amongst everything else that you do. But if you don't deal with the actual issue that caused you to burn out in the first place or to feel so tired, then these self care treats that you're doing to help yourself cope can actually turn into the thing that ends up ruining your whole life and it can send you to an early grave. The problem begins when these new little self care treats and habits drag on and lead from one thing to another until they become your actual daily habit. Let me tell you what I mean. Habits like you think you'll sleep in on your days off, and then that turns into sleeping in later and later, not getting up till after lunch, or not perhaps getting out of bed all day. It might turn into the whole weekend or all of your days off like that, and then not going to work when you're supposed to because you're spending the day in bed, and that turns into isolating. You might, instead of going out with your friends, you're staying home in bed, and this leads on and on. And then you start to lose your friends because you're not seeing your friends. You're not answering their text messages. You're just avoiding things at the moment. This can also lead to stopping doing some self care things because if you're not getting out of bed, you're probably not getting showered and dressed, you're not washing your hair, all those little things. And it may seem like, well, I've just done that this weekend because I needed to. But then that can turn into, I do this every weekend, or this has become a habit. Not having a care in the world can sometimes translate into not caring about anything anymore, not really, couldn't be stuffed to do anything, which can then lead on to depression. Maybe you're comfort eating, like it's used to be my thing. You think you're giving yourself a treat, and those treats turn into replacing meals or after every meal and in between every meal. They turn into not just one treat but three or four in a row. They turn into you replacing your diet. It is now junk food with the occasional bit of good stuff in between. This leads to, of course, weight gain, inflammation, and all the other things that go along with that. Having a drink in the evening can turn into having two drinks in the evening, can quickly turn into one bottle, two bottles, starting earlier and earlier, not missing a day, and before you know it, you've got a problem. Same thing with shopping online, gambling, gaming, all those things that in moderation are self care. But when they become a way of avoiding what your life or avoiding dealing with the problems of why you're burnt out and feeling so exhausted and needing all these treats, they can become the actual way of life. Now, I know this sounds very doom and gloom, but I'm sure we all know people or parts of ourselves where this has happened. So, how do you know that it's whether something is just self care and the occasional treat that you need and is great for you, or whether it's becoming a problem or a major problem before it actually becomes a problem? Well, there are signs. Your intuition, for one, will be stepping in and nudging you with thoughts of, I think I'm drinking too much, or I wish I didn't have to eat so much, or, there'll be thoughts of perhaps the behaviour is not in your best interests. They'll be running through your head. Or, it's starting to be a problem when you start to hide the behaviours. You're hiding the chocolate wrappers. You're not mentioning what you did all weekend because you don't want to say that you stayed in bed all weekend. Or you're wearing a scarf over your hair because you haven't washed it and it's looking pretty yuck. Things like that. When you notice that you're starting to hide your behaviours from others, then it's a sign that there's starting to be a problem or there's a problem causing those behaviours. A little bit of shame can creep in, of course. You can start to feel ashamed of your behaviours. You might start to feel depressed or down, not feel like you want to do anything at all, as in not go and do the things that you normally would enjoy as your treats. That's another really big sign that something's really wrong. Your health will start to suffer. You will see the physical signs of doing too much of these treats to try and self-care when you're not dealing with the actual problem and causing the need for all this self-care. When you stop doing anything and you're just doing nothing, as you call it, this means that you stop being interesting, and the only conversations that you can have are ones usually about your past. Everyone else is talking about what they're doing, and you've only got things that happened in the past or your identity that was in the past. And people start to avoid you. And yes, I know this all sounds very doom and gloom because it is. But I think that if people could recognize some of these things before they start to become a problem and also know that there's something they can do about it, that this could help a lot of people. And obviously, the sooner you catch something like this, the better. But these things can go on for years, as we all know. We've all got our vices. We're all human. Yes. So stop beating yourself up about it. Number one, you're human and we've all got our own battles to deal with. So what do you do about it? Number one, find out who you are. And I know this is nothing, but it is the beginning of everything. If you don't know who you are now, not the person you were 6 months ago or 5 years ago or when you were a teenager, who you are now, what you like, what you don't like, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. If you need a little bit of help with this, I've made another video that says, Who Am I? You can go through that one if that helps. But it's basically just thinking about who you are, what you want, what you really want, not what's expected, not what other people think you should want, but what you want. Then write out who you want to be 3 months from now. Who would you like to be? How would you like to feel, even more importantly? What might be important to you 3 months from now? If these changes could be made easily, if they could just have a magic wand and boom, that's where you'd like to be 3 months from now. And if you catch yourself writing things like, I'd like to be sitting on an island, sitting on the beach or whatever, and not have a care in the world, then look at that and know that you're trying to escape something, and perhaps try and write out, what is it? Ask yourself, what is it that I'm trying to escape from? Number two, or three, I'm not sure where we're up to, is to find passion again, passion in your life. Because when life gets in the way and all the things we're doing to survive, all the things we're doing to make money and just put, stuff on the table, pay the rent or the mortgage, just to live, that can get in the way of what our passions are, of what the things that we used to do, that we used to enjoy doing. And that's why we're looking for all these treats, to escape from having to do the things that we don't like doing and to find things that we do like doing. But we've often let go of the things that we really enjoy, looking for a quick fix. So think about the things that you've let go of that you didn't have time to do anymore, the hobbies you used to enjoy, the things that you used to like doing when you were thinking about playing as a kid, and start to research them. Look them up. Maybe there's some adult form of that you could do now. Maybe there's a group in your area. Just start researching. So start a Pinterest board, add pictures of these things. And what this does is it puts your brain in a focus of the things that you like to do rather than it takes it out of more survival mode and looking forward. If you can't pin it down to just one thing, so what? Make lots of Pinterest boards, research lots of different habits. It's all good. It's your brain focusing. That's the important thing. I'll think of anything. Maybe you've just lost yourself so much that you don't even know what you enjoy anymore, or you can't imagine enjoying anything anymore. And that's part of depression. So think back to when you were a kid. Think back to when a time in your life that you have felt happy doing something. And if you can't find anything there, think about something new that just might interest you. It's not something you have to commit to. It's just something that you can research and look up and start opening up areas of your imagination and your focus to new ideas. And even if you find something on this list that you're writing out and you think to yourself, well, I can't do that because blah, blah, blah. I don't have time, I don't have the money, whatever. We can't always see the way, but what we have to do is start. When you start something and you start to take action, that's when your brain will kick in with coming up with new ways and ideas of how to make that happen. Not while you're not taking action, because when you haven't taken action towards something, it's just one of those, another idea in the day, which we have millions of. And so your brain doesn't prioritize this idea as a problem or something that you need to solve. It just thinks it's another idea. So when we start to take actions, even if it's writing out, well, this is my business plan or this is my plan to do this hobby, your brain switches gears into, okay, we're doing this. And so you start to come up with ideas on it can come forward. You can't figure it all out in your head at once. That's not how it works. The most important thing is to take steps towards these things, very small steps, steps that feel like treats every day, things that you'll want to do because they feel like you're self caring. So you make a small plan for the next day, like I am going to go and search out and find all my craft stuff or my old uniform or whatever it is that you used to like to do. I'm going to see where it is or if I've still got it, and take a look at it. I'm going to go through it. And that's going to be my plan for tomorrow. Not something really hard, not something that feels like a chore, a treat for you that you're going to do that won't take much time. So instead of trying to fix your bad habits by trying to take something away from yourself when you're actually needing self-care at the moment, you're needing these little treats of whatever habit it is that you're forming, instead of trying to restrict yourself with these things, which will feel like punishment, then you're adding new treats. You're adding in things that can feel more exciting to you and give you that hit of feel good and self-care that replaces the other things that weren't doing so good. Motivation and momentum come from you showing yourself evidence of what you're doing, and your brain links into that evidence. It needs to see this is what we're doing, this is how it's happening. And beating yourself up also leads to more resistance. The part of you that's crying out for self-care and time out will just resist, and you'll find yourself breaking your promises to yourself, and then you'll feel even worse, and you'll reach even more for those treat behaviors that were actually starting to have a good effect on your life. And starting new hobbies or rekindling old ones leads to so many positive things in your life. It turns things around. It it gives you new friends. It makes you more interesting. It turns your focus onto positive stuff. Um, it can lead to you making a new way of making money in doing something you love where you don't feel burnt out. It doesn't have to. It can just be a hobby. It can lead you into the flow state, which lowers your cortisol, which is the stress hormone, reducing inflammation in your body, helping you to feel like you have more energy. It frees your brain up from worry. So many positives that you're missing out on by not pursuing your hobbies. So get in there, get those hobbies going, and I'd love to hear in the comments what your hobbies are or what you'd like to get back into doing. We've all got them.